All right, it's that time of the week. It is tier rankings time. Only 4 teams left, so kind of a weird tier rankings situation. It's really more of a power rankings than a tier rankings at this point, but I thought it should be fun. And the first thing you have to mention is like, listen, these are 4 incredible teams that are, anyone could win the Super Bowl. So we are splitting hairs with some of these teams, but at the same time, that's what makes the discussion fun. So, while I think any team could end up being Super Bowl champions, let's start off with the team I think is probably least likely, or I guess, fourth most likely, however you want to phrase it. I am still going to Detroit Lions. And I know Lions fans might be upset at this. I feel like, most Lions fans are cool. There's a couple that are a bit unhappy with me being a bit too low on them this season, and I'll admit I've been a bit too low on them this season. And one thing I kind of had the epiphany after they beat the Rams was like, okay, my critique is I still think there's secondary concerns with this roster. I do, and I still, I guess that's the main issue I have. Not to have offensive line injuries, which that's usually been a massive strength. If that's now just even not a strength, I do have a couple of questions. I also do think that, I don't know, Goff and Purdy are in the same tier for me. I think Lamar and Mahomes are a tier above those guys, in my opinion. So I don't think there's a massive quarterback mismatch or disadvantage heading into this game. So do I think they could win? Yeah, I think they could win. Against San Francisco, the secondary is going to have to step it up, and that's the main reason I have them fourth. They're a good team. I mean, again, you don't get here by being a bad team. They are 7-point underdogs against San Francisco. That's a lot. Being a touchdown underdog against the 49ers. I get it. 49ers are good, but I mean, that feels like a lot, which I haven't done my preview yet. Maybe once I do that, I'll understand it more. But as of right now, feels like they're maybe getting disrespected, in my opinion. Although, many Lions fans feel like I've disrespected them all season, and putting them at fourth would be disrespectful. Which, again, I get the argument. I get why. Again, they've proven me wrong before. Can they do it again? If also come on this channel, and if they beat the San Francisco 49ers, admit I was definitely way wrong about this team. Right now, a little wrong about this team. That's how I view it. Because I did think they were a good team all year. I just didn't see quite this good. And we'll see if they're even above where I have them right now. But for now, so they are in the, yes, they can win a Super Bowl, but probably the fourth best team. That is where I have them. Next here is I'm still not sure they're good, but they have Mahomes, so I spelled it wrong. So that for sure could win it all. That would be the Kansas City Chiefs here. Let me edit the thing. Okay, edited. Took a second longer than I thought it would take. So here we go. Jump cutting to it now being edited. Yeah, listen. You could argue the Lions above the Chiefs. I understand it. Chiefs are 3.5-point underdogs against the Ravens is what I saw. And hey, if you get Kansas City only having to lose by a field goal against anybody, I'm tempted to take that. So I kind of like both underdogs with the points, but I do agree they both should be underdogs. Listen, I mean, you talk about issues. The Chiefs have had issues all season long with some of this stuff. I still think you can, run the ball against them. Although I think some of that is scheme. I think they kind of let you run the ball at times. So I don't know if it's quite as simple as Baltimore is just going to run all over them the way some people are saying. But, no doubt about it, the Chiefs receivers, I mean, they can't stop making bad mistakes. Even McCall Hardman, in that Bills game, fumbling at the goal line, this isn't a close game if he's able to get into the end zone right there. I thought they actually played pretty good defense despite the high point totals. And again, people are so dumb where they just look at bulk stats instead of points per drive stats. I shouldn't say dumb, but people don't pay attention to the details here. Like the Bills scored 3 points per drive in that game. Like that's a lot of points per drive in that game, and they had a missed field goal in the mix. So for Kansas City, definitely have to work on that. No denying that. For the Chiefs defensively against, again, the MVP now, so it's not going to get any easier. And then playing San Francisco or Detroit in the Super Bowl, if they get there, that wouldn't be much easier. But at the same time, I still think their defense is very good. They can cover very well, and the main reason they're here is just Patrick Mahomes was, my podcast co-host Kyle said that might have been the best game of Patrick Mahomes' career, and while that certainly feels hot takey, there's not exactly one I look at and say, oh, what about this game? It's certainly up there. I haven't gone through his list of games and found it, but it's certainly up there. And if Mahomes is going to play at that level, Yeah, they for sure could win it all. Again, they've looked so bad at times this season. They have, what, 6, 7 losses? I think they have 7 losses, but one of those was without their starters. So 6 losses, if I remember correctly. Maybe it's 5, but either way, they've had a handful of losses this season that they probably shouldn't have lost. I still think about that Raiders game. That was a loss that shouldn't have happened. Like, they've still had these blunders, really, but they got Mahomes. He's playing like that, and they have other pieces too. Like, yeah, they could win it all, but I can't put them above the top 2 teams. San Francisco is the number 1 contender, in my opinion. Again, a lot of stuff to like. It's weird where, I don't know, people kind of made jokes about it, but I do think it's maybe a real thing that Purdy has issues with the weather. I think that might be a thing, because this is twice this season now that he's had horrible games with the weather. Against the Browns, he played terrible, and then against the Packers, he played terrible when it was raining. So, and again, as Kyle brought up, he had his best drive when rain was really coming down, right? So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not the case at all, and I'm just making excuses, perhaps. But it's something to put a pin in. At the end of the day, though, I'm not expecting Purdy to play that poorly again. It's possible, and it's something that should concern you if you're a 49ers fan. But as long as Purdy just goes out and plays football the way we know he can play football, they should be in really good shape, I think. I think the 49ers, obviously we all know about their talent, even with a banged up Deebo Samuel, you have to like what this team can do, and their defense has been playing great. Now, I don't have them as the favorite, and I think it's fair to not have them as the favorite. For one thing, they lost to the favorite earlier in this season. I also think it's just fair to say, they squeaked by Green Bay. Green Bay, credit to Matt LaFleur, credit to the first 3 quarters of Jordan Love's play, all of that stuff, 100%. But at the same time, that is a game that you were, expected to win by more than a touchdown. It was 9.5-point spread. So for the Lions, don't let the 7-point spread scare you too much, because look at what Green Bay nearly did. But I still think that they're the favorites in the NFC, but not the favorites in the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens, how could you not put them at number 1? The only reason you could not put them at number 1 is if you're just like, well, Mahomes is Mahomes, so I'm going to put him at number 1, right? That's honestly maybe the best argument you could come up with, because even I didn't think this was Lamar's best day, and he still had that second half where he was perfect. He was legitimately perfect in the second half. He had a couple of issues, and it really wasn't him, I thought. So I should clarify. I didn't think it was the offense's best day. I thought they made some mistakes early on, and I do think that Houston probably should have kept with their kind of game plan that they had in the first half of run pressure, blitz, but at the same time, Baltimore was beating it in the second half, so I get why they went away with it. The whole thing that the Ravens tried to do this offseason was become not necessarily a better team, but a more complete team. Yes, they also became a better team, and that certainly helps things, right? But at the same time, it was about being able to beat man coverage, being able to win in different ways. Getting those receivers, I think, really helped. And, again, they've also become a better team, so that helps as well. They deserve to be the favorite. Those are my power rankings / tier rankings here. Ravens, 49ers, Chiefs, and Lions. But like I said, anything can happen here. But again, who knows? Maybe once I do my preview show, I'll change my mind. But for now, that's where I have them. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.